Good morning from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. The time is 9:47 a.m. on the 29th of September 2024. So the sunshine's come out after, 2.5, 3 days of rain. Still lots of cloud, but there's blue skies, but it's still very blustery winds. So it's a strange kind of day. But anyway, on we go with today's readings of even date. Today's journal entries are titled From Beautiful Beloved Dreadlocks to Precious Naga Kanyes. It's all a mystical holiday. And I posted this in 2018 and I wrote, because dreadlocks. I would have dreadlocks, except my hair's so fine it snaps them off and they go floating past me in a swimming pool. Ask me how I know. But yes, I did have a dreadlock phase for about 6 months till that happened. But I might just instead buy one of these doggies one day. They're Hungarian dogs, a Hungarian breed. I forget what they're called, but they have dreadlocks. Isn't it beautiful? So yes, 29th of September 2024, 6:59 a.m. Awake since 5:38 a.m., which is astonishing. Unusual. I didn't go dancing this weekend as I was too exhausted from making my YouTube videos. But here I lie with restless leg syndrome, dancing anyway. I have a dull ache in the back of my left calf as though I was perched on those torture devices I call high-heeled shoes, kicking my legs around. You know what this means. I need to get up and do something with my morning. The old body throws epic tantrums when I miss out on going dancing. Last time I missed out, there was some rather astonishing depressive spiraling as well. Who is in charge of this body? My mind is clear. I can hear a very high vibration, but I still feel kind of woolly and exhausted too. It's another rainy day. Well, it was earlier this morning. Sunday. The day stretches before me like an anticipatory, drawn-out smoke on the drag of a stale Cuban cigar. Gourd. Mama T needs to get laid soon. 9 years of celibacy, sanguine and necessary to grow my heart back, is starting to feel like a curse. This is not an invitation to weirdos and predators that stumble across my videos on YouTube, by the way. Just behave. I hate when I wake up too early, so the promise of another long day of isolation feels like a threat or a curse. Not good. What magic shall I weave out of this blinding bathos instead? Perhaps I will make a ring, or do some more spinning, or read some more folk tales for my intrepid YouTube audience. Those of you that enjoy me reading folk tales to you. Anything to distract myself from this cold alienation from my newly blossoming life force. Babies. I threw that in. I didn't write that down, just say. Sometimes I do, but not this time. Anyway, chuckles. It's all good, all part of the metamorphosis. I feel like a rare orchid blooming on a desolate, craggy mountain, hidden by mist, unseen, unvalued, untouched by human hands, but intrepidly, wildly free also, blooming bravely and beautifully, just in case. Smiley face. Time to get up, shower, and build my beautiful life, one moment at a time. The building blocks of my life happening breath by breath in astonishing, whirling dervish delights. I will not be a flower that is plucked and shucked, but an ancient sacred grove that is meandered through, worshipped and adored, where my true loves will be soul nourished and enlightened by our mutual magic. Obviously, I'm talking about my agape, unconditional, platonic loves there, because I couldn't possibly mutually, magically manifest for multiple people. I would go a bit crazy if that happened. I'm definitely a one-man woman, or one man at a time woman anyway. It's been a long time since I've taken a lover, and as you can see, I'm very, very, particular about how that manifests. It's probably why I remain celibate, probably for the rest of my life. And that too is perfectly okay. Better than inviting any other abusers or making any other mistakes or causing any disruptions in the field, babies. However, I can tell by my own writings that I'm ready to launch into a new adventure with somebody wonderful that loves me in return. But not internet frotterings. No, and did I mention, hell no, we won't go. I have no time for time wasters and tricksters. Creative life force and deep connections of bliss. Oh, sorry, where was I? Live our best lives together in a sacred trust. It's with my beautiful, heartfelt, sincere friends, remnant family, and maybe one day, the one. Creative life force and deep connections of bliss. We've got this. The Tanya, the psychedelic dreamer, is manifesting again. Uh-oh, be ready. Sometimes I launch myself and it's a bit astonishing. Have to be conscious of holding on while letting go, as my wonderful friend Michelle Citrine reminded me back in 2020. Like one of those mechanised toy cars that you pull back and you build up friction, right? You just build it up, pull back, and then you let it go. Whee! It goes speeding across the floor till it runs out of puff and just dies a natural death. And you go and you pull it back and you let it go again. That's what my love life has been like historically. Actually, add in life-threatening and rapey and disrespectful as well. And it's more than a mechanised toy car. It's more like a fucking Sterling Moss, whatever you call those international car races. I forget what they've called. The Grand Prix. Massive pile up. It's not been pretty, people Earth. It's why I'm very circumspect and a very prickly pear. It's very hard to get close to me because trust issues. And when I do throw out the throw out the invitation, I sometimes get rejected anyway because they don't trust me. And that's okay too. Everything in its season, everything has a reason. Just gonna shut the door because I'm gonna put the aircon on. Whew. It's like a little heat trap sitting in the corner of the lounge with both windows meeting like this and the sun beating through. I'm like, whew, already very, 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 very hot. Right. 29th of September 2023. The sun's come out. I should go and do something nice later. Go to a beach or something. It'll all still be wet on the sand though from all the rain, but be nice to be by the sea. I might do it, see how I feel later. Another beautiful morning. This was 1 year ago. After yesterday's garden and or meridian soothing storm. Isn't it interesting that we've had the same weather in the last few days? Lynn is on her way to visit me. Lovely. Yesterday, I'm still overheated. Just spit some alcohol. Far out. By the gods. I need to buy new fans. This one's pretty, but it doesn't do shit. Oh, it does a little bit, but it's not as powerful as my bamboo one from Indonesia. But, dear goddess. Right, where were we? Yesterday I was sitting in the back of the garden, near the back wall with the chairs with the glass table. Charlie was close by, singing in the tree. It was a hot, humid day, later cooled down by the after-lunch storm. I was sitting, musing, reading on my iPhone as I usually do. Suddenly, a tiny native bee hovered right in front of my face, almost touching my nose. She or he held their tiny winged body in perfect alignment with the tip of my nose. See, I remembered. About 3 inches away. I just looked down the tip of my nose with astonishment. She hovered there for a minute or two. I sat resolute and calm. She was so tiny and not aggressive, and I took it as an augury of luck and happiness. What is more enchanting than being serenaded by a tiny bee? So we harmonized our energy centers and smiled at each other. Just as suddenly as she appeared, she flew away. Ah, it was delightful. Even Charlie looked suitably impressed. A gift from the gods, a sign, a happiness, love and light from my sacred space garden. Harmonic resonance. Happy Sukkot, Chag Sameach. Much love to and from the multiverse. Sukkot this year will be in about 15 or 16 days time, not quite sure. I shared a lovely photo of the moon. Twenty-ninth of September 2022. After complaining last night about how tired I was, I went to bed and lay there for hours, threshing with insomnia. Nuts, especially as I had felt drained and fatigued all day. Where are we? So now I need some neroli oil to burn in an oil burner before attempting sleep. Worth a try. My right arm is covered in scratches and welts as it's been very itchy for the past few days, so I suspect my liver is not functioning well. That or I got bitten by tiny midges. But my skin feels like tiny creatures have been stabbing me for the past few days. It both burns, stings, then itches. This getting older lark is no walk in the park. Horrible existence. I also have a sore sciatica in my left hip, but I hurt that dancing like a tempestuous teenager last Friday. So that one is my own stupid fault. It's improving, so guess where I will be tomorrow night? Probably blowing out my other hip. 29th of September 2021. I had a lovely chat with Annie in Wales this morning on video. It was good to see her beautiful face and catch up. Then I went back to sleep for a few more hours. I think I overdid the creativity in the past few days, scratching away at ebony beads, then trying to learn spindle spinning last night. My right side aches, transferred liver pain. I've been a bit in the wars as I hurt my hand the other day, this one, with a 2-pound mallet, then ground off a bit of the top layer of my thumbnail yesterday. Sanding back the ebony beads with my fake Dremel. Ouch. Now my liver is not happy, probably because I ate a fair bit of chocolate and these delightful, tiny, yummy Italian wafer-type biscuits. Uh-oh, no gallbladder means I can't process too much fat or sugar. Bugger. I ate a whole block of chocolate yesterday too and quite a bit of fried food, so in 3 days I will feel like hell. It takes usually 3 days for it to affect me, but it was yummy at the time, but I knew when as I was imbibing, and are you going to be paying for that in a day or two, Tanya? But it is what it is. I really needed that chocolate. I devoured the entire block like a little Miss Piglet. It's delicious. But yes, my guts. I'll probably go into strange headspace later actually, because it tends to send me a bit into a strange mental state, as well as the unpleasantness with the tummy. Sometimes it doesn't though. Sometimes it doesn't affect me. Maybe I'll be lucky. Think positive, Tanya. But yeah, it's kind of, you eat the wrong foods and you know you're dicing with a day or two of not very good health, but you've self-inflicted, so you can't complain about it really. I had some healthy dinners in the past few days, however. The delicious chicken fillets with rice and Lebanese cucumber and carrots gifted by Margot, and the other night the mince and red pepper and tomato paste concoction. I drank a fair bit of coffee on Tuesday, so perhaps that upset my liver too, although my doctor had suggested it is good for the liver, go figure. It was probably the amount of the sugary things, not the actual coffee, that blew me out. Anyway, with all my low-riding, grumbling, subterranean health issues that arise and punch me in the face with monotonous regularity, I'm quite contented at the moment. Life is good even with sore, injured, arthritic hands, fatigue and liver issues. I am enjoying each moment as it comes. This too shall pass or transmogrify. Annie said she saw a white butterfly fly over my head and disappear behind my pillow. I was actually talking to her from my bed. So that is a positive sign of transformation. Time to get up and greet the day, 11:29 a.m. I had a good sleep. Knitting with my homies. So here we have Beauregard keeping me company and Charlie while I try to do my knitting. They really were good friends, the two of them. I wrote a long comment, which I will read to you, but I'm just trying to find what it's in relation to that set me on that rant. Trying to find the article or the video that I've commented on. It's quite a bit of writing I've done there. Aha. Jeff Brown, 29th of September 2021. The fact is that some of us cannot preserve our dignity and well-being if we remain connected to one or both of our parents. We just can't. This applies to siblings as well. This is not to say that we don't do our best to heal and preserve those relationships, but sometimes it's simply not possible, and it's not healthy to continue. Unfortunately, many who have made the brave, necessary decision to disconnect are met with a shaming, shunning response from others. It is one of the most destructive and imprisoning guilt trips of all time. But she's your mother, but he's your brother. They did their best. You owe them your life, etc. This has to stop. Yes, it does. You can be sure that if someone is considering disconnecting from members of their family of origin, there must be very legitimate reasons for doing so. Even if they did their best, that doesn't mean we have to stay in contact with them. Some wounds cut too deep. Some bridges have been permanently burnt. Some people do not change. Let's get this straight. You are not a bad person if you choose to say goodbye to abusive family members. You have every right to preserve your emotional integrity. Our responsibility to those who abuse us cannot be greater than our responsibility to ourselves. And very potent and healing words, because I've walked in those shoes. So I wrote here, this. And it was a long, hard, grinding lesson, which ultimately took my half-sister Angela declaring me dead when she had acted dishonourably and with great cowardice to me for decades. So in fact, she was the true zombie that I had clutched under my left arm and breathed life into one too many times. I have a bad habit of doing that, actually, holding on to toxic people. I don't do that anymore. I learnt eventually, after decades of immense suffering, to cut people loose and not look back. Sometimes I look back, but strive to not look back, because they've got nothing to teach me anymore, those kinds of evil, malevolent ones. They've got nothing to teach me, but if I allow it, they inflict more and more pain and suffering. And when I say I'm done, I'm genuinely done. I may still give a few other little chances, like the floundering of a dying fish, but by that stage the relationship's never quite the same again. It either changes irrevocably or I move on. Where was the love and respect for me as a fellow survivor of the very same perpetrator? Absolutely fucking absent. I have a long, tragic history of blowing life into soulless, sadistic people, like my former lovers, and yet another timely but painful reminder with my friend and or neighbour down the street. Although in his case he got given, more chances because I could see he wasn't very well at the time. There are extenuating circumstances when I look at the big picture and think, okay, they weren't right, they weren't in their right mind at that time. But if it were to continue, out, weg damit. Instead of blowing life into these perverted, evil people, I should have just blown them up instead. When I finally blow my stack, now usually after my fair and reasonable 3-strike rule, these narcopaths act surprised that I might have finally drawn the line in the sand. So fuck them. I needed this advice as a young woman when I first got married, and instead of walking away to the other side of the world, or galaxy if I had to, I cleaved to that mother, half-sister, husband like a masochistic gimp, as my victim-blaming culture insisted that I was wrong if I chose freedom, dignity, and selfhood. It was not until my Reformed rabbi gave a sermon about it being perfectly okay to detach from toxic family members who were constantly destructive, a mercy preferred pointedly in my direction, for which I am grateful, by the way. And he explained how the biblical tenet to honour thy father and mother so your days on earth may be long did not actually apply to evil, perverted, child-abusing parents. That it was up to the parents to model such safe parenting as to be worthy of their adult child's honour, indeed. My parents lacked any honour towards me, right up to their deaths. There was never an apology and never any grace. I had to fight that long evil will dispute for what? Only by and large more trauma and even more destructive love affairs and a seeping wound of grief. The only honourable thing my father ever did for me was to pay for his own funeral, under pressure from that other evil, perverted bastard who was striving to redeem himself in my eyes. Davidson, who told me he had told my father that as I live in dire poverty, it would be a matter of merit to at least cover his own funeral costs. He also made my father buy a mobile phone so that useless, feckless, and ultimately homeless Rolling Stone could be contactable. But I wanted no contact with him ever again, after he admitted he knew what Trevor was doing to both me and my much older sister before I was even born, and did nothing to protect her or I when my turn came. Monstrous they were. Utterly fucking monstrous. I did the right thing by cutting ties to those atrocities posing as family and as humans. But I was severely judged by members of my former community for it. They deemed me the evil one for daring to strive for autonomy and safety for myself and my children, and for daring to finally speak the truth about my history of child sexual abuse, domestic violence, spiritual abuse, financial abuse, and mental and/or emotional abuse. So yes, as I said, fuck them. The chutzpah of making me deal with his ashes was another injury. But they are dead, infernal and eternal. They can only haunt me via mediums or by the occasional poltergeist activity, or lately jumping in when I'm reading stories and my mind's in some kind of, probably kind of an alpha state from concentrating on the stories. Davidson's trying to butt in on that. Other spirits too that I don't even know who they are. But yes, he's been around lately. You hear me turn to him and say, go annoy your wife and kids. That's Davidson. But anyway, it's a bit astonishing, and I'm not sure why that is, why he's still hanging around me 8 years after, more than 8 years now. 8 years and 4 months after his death. It's a bit weird, people of Earth, but it's my reality and I have to live through it. And each time they emerge from beyond the veil, they are told succinctly to fuck off, although I've stopped doing that. So I just don't give them any attention, but I'm not quite as aggressive with them as I used to be, because ultimately, they're stealing my energy and siphoning off the emotion that I give to them, feeds them, so I don't feed them anymore. They fed for me quite enough when they were alive. I had to fight for every tiny morsel and every scrap of love and every nanosecond of time and interspatial healing. I had to fight for the psychedelic dreamer's dream of an authentic, true, loyal lover, and recently found out who my protector is, who actually sabotaged me in every potential relationship since his death in 2016. David, the beloved one. That's what the name David means in Hebrew, the beloved one. It's kind of comical since my middle name Desiree means the desired one. You have to laugh. David, the beloved one. Truly a Dybbuk, most malevolent and filthy, dares to try to circumscribe my neshama, my soul, 5 years after his death, as my powerful and pertinent rage has him stuck between this world and the next. Not my monkey, not my circus. He is trapped by his own vortices of evil, and all I ever did was call him out on it. The rest is up to the Holy One. I did put out a heartfelt prayer that those who damaged me could not be permitted to move into the light until they fixed all the harms they did to me. So that's probably why he's still floating around, because from his perspective, he's trying to fix things, but he's a discarnate spirit incapable of any integrity or honesty, which he lacked when he was alive, by the way. So he comes in through in trance drummings and tells me he's trying to help me, and it just sounds demonic. I just say, you can't help me. What are you going to do? Don't even have a body. What are you going to help me with? Destroy yet another friendship or destroy yet another potential love affair out of spite? No, we don't want that level of evil in our lives. So, he jumps up and down and says it's not fair, but it's perfectly fair given the damage he did to me and my children. His consequences of his actions, lasted 30 years. So, well, not quite 30 years, but almost. So, karma is karma, babies. He didn't factor in that he'd be paying for it across the veil. And don't worry, if I've harmed people in this life, I'll be paying for it too, because it's natural law. It's yin and yang. Everything comes into perfect balance and harmonic resonance, and it's why one must be conscious of not actively trying to do the wrong thing by people. Try to do the right thing, and when the right thing turns wrong through no fault of your own, owning your own shit and at least having the decency to be gracious and say, I'm really sorry, it went wrong, I made a mistake, it wasn't my intention, what I wanted at all, But then we're all human, and we all have our little foibles, and I'm just as human as any other mortal on this planet. I've just been dragged to the life experience so many times that I'm a little bit, I have a kind of an uber soul that protects me, and it's astonishing sometimes. But anyway, on we go and on we go. So him offering himself as my cosmic bodyguard is a joke and a yoke I could do well without. Dibble Keem wanting to live like parasites from both my light and my woman's fight to self-determination in my own body, as he did when he was alive 21 years ago, are not welcome here, she says, but I can't stop him floating around. Well, I guess I could do a full-blown exorcism and, call in the higher forces, but I figure if he's floating around, from time to time, there's a higher reason for it, and he's gaining gnosis and I'm gaining gnosis, and as long as he's not harming anyone or me, I'm kind of not all that bothered really about him hanging around. Jared says, ooh, because Jared knows how vile and really disgusting he was to me. Jared's immediate reaction if I say, I've had Davidson float, he just sort of goes, ooh, and he's right, it is kind of disgusting. But I'm just prosaic about it now. It's like, what are you going to do? How many crossroads can I set? Angels and voodoo gods to protect, and it's like when they're dead, the way I look at it, our contract is over, so it's kind of odd that he still hovers around, but anyway, he's not causing me any real harm as far as I can see. He's just hovering from time to time, not all the time. If he was here all the time, I'd really do a full-blown exorcism and blast him out, but, oh well. He seeks peaceful communication with me, or so he told my medium friend. Well, to be peaceful, there needs to be a rectification, a recalibration, a restitution, a tikkun olam, and a genuine, heartfelt, soul-cognizant apology and a deep healing To be fair, I have received apologies from him in trance drummings, even in the past year. He has apologised, so I'll give him that much. Only took him 8 years to finally gain enough gnosis to have the balls to apologise, the spiritual cojones to apologise. But, it's nice to receive an apology. It is. But ultimately it changes nothing. Can't undo the harms that were done. But it's like my little bit of settlement that I'm waiting to receive from Ethicon. It's like, meh. It's not going to fix the damage that was done to my body and the emotional damage and the sadism of both those surgeries I had were evil beyond belief. But anyway, doesn't fix shit, but it's an acknowledgement that they did the wrong thing, so I accept that with grace. Very, very hot again. I.e., very likely impossible and improbable, as I will never sell my soul out to any human man or human spirit or dibbook ever again, she says. Them's fighting words. Baby girl, be careful, baby girl. You know what happens when you fall in love with a man? By the gods. A constant battle of my will over the cumulative sources of evil that plagued me, even unto this current evil COVID paradigm. Yes, indeed. So in that, I have gained back insight and whistled my fragmented soul back into my middle-aged body, and in that, with the grace of the gods, the holy ones, the manifestations of agape love, holiest of lights, and deepest cognition of my will to good, to become she who was always destined to be, whom she was, is, always will be, at one-ment with Great Spirit. Lord and Lady, and our beautiful, magical, nurturing planet. One little dibbook holds no sway, although it did rattle me for a week. Why? The power of my intentions and my prayers, and the power of my love that was thwarted, debased, stymied, gaslighted, and destabilized by psychic vermin and their human counterparts. C'est la vie, bitches. Hineni. Hineni is Hebrew for here I am. Holding my ground in a world gone into apocalyptic disarray, as we all know that from the catalyzing of the breakdown of any substance, new life, perhaps a butterfly, always emerges. Metamorphosis, babies, metamorphosis. Even if I am no longer alive to witness the next evolution of our consciousness and our species, although I adjure you, do not accept the transmogrifications imposed upon you by Big Pharma. Those of you who've held out this long, keep holding your line. Stay human. I am staying free. I am staying in love with my planet and the gods, and I am holding precious those who have always held me precious, as when the shit finally hits the fan, as it has begun to, I want to know I have people and or spirits on my team who are life-affirming, loyal and safe. And in that gnosis, we are the ones we have been waiting for to save our own souls, bodies, minds, spirits. We, the unmothered, unpartnered, unseen, unprotected, will need to hold each other as true kin across all paradigms and across this planet as our only true nurturing mother. And that was my comment to what Jeff Brown wrote about not feeling guilty for walking away from toxic, evil, perverted, dishonouring, disgusting parents and or siblings, and in my case even children. It's fucking tragic, but to stay alive and to stay sane and to stay safe, just have to accept it and move on, babies. Hear a chopper going past. Watching Back to Nature on ABC iView as recommended by my wonderful psychiatrist. It's a beautiful, soulful TV show blending Aboriginal spirituality with the spectacular views of nature all over Australia. I love it, which he said he knew I would enjoy it. Just a birdie num-num picking my teeth. Beauregard and I had a walk around the block. We stopped to chat to little Lachlan and his baby sister Alice. I could hear him asking Libby, their mother, if he could say hello to me. Sweet, loving child, feeling much loved and valued and cherished. It's a shame they moved away. I particularly miss the children. Anyway, what can you do? People move away, didn't even say goodbye to me, and I was very kind to their children, gave them lovely little gifts at Halloween, and well, this is the thing, people are superficial and selfish and elitist and whatever their deal was. Life goes on, babies. Kellyanne wrote, "He loves you so much," meaning Charlie, who we used to think was male. And I wrote back, "She actually. I still struggle with her real gender, lol. The egg laying was a mind flip." She wrote back, "I bet." It's a bit of a mind flip when my cousin told me that he was transgender and became a woman. So I accepted her, of course, 'cause she's my cousin and I love her, but took me a while to wrap my head around it for the first few weeks. And I thought, well, I've always been an LGBTIQ ally, so why would I be any different when it's my own blood transmogrifying into the opposite gender? And love is love, people. If you love your friends and your family, you support them to be the best version of who they are or aspire to be, no matter what. Oh my, Halloween is coming. I have now 2 more little toys to make, which I made for my little friends across the street. A witch and a scarecrow. Here I write, for my little friends across the street. I've 1 month to get them done. I already started another witch today. That year I made little toys, knitted toys of little witches and ghosts, and I gave them to all my little kitty friends around the neighbourhood. And it was lovely. It was really lovely. It's a lot of work though, and that's why I'm hurt that when they moved away they didn't even say goodbye. I was like, really? Anyway, another example of people not valuing me or appreciating me is as a person and what have you. It happens. It's human nature. I'm not going to hold on to it because it's shit, but it's human nature. 29th of September 2019. Lashana Tova Tekatovu Umantucha. May this new year bless us with love, shalom, joy, abundance, good, loyal, true friends, family, partnerships, better health, and a global evolution in consciousness that eliminates all those toxic wastrels from leadership and raises up those who will heal our planet, our human societies, for the sake of all life forms, our interconnectedness with all that is in all dimensions and all paradigms, etc. Please, Creator, keep us safe and sacred, unsullied by abusers and their sycophants. Amen. For Salah. And interestingly, 5 years after that, many of the really toxic wastrels that endorsed a certain product all quit their roles as premiers and prime ministers and headed for the hills. Isn't that fascinating? My prayer was kind of answered in an astonishing way. And I was kept safe and sacred because I had guidance to not subscribe to that particular evil, so preserved what's left of my already very precarious health, by the way, for which I'm grateful. I would not have survived the you-know-what of the last 4 years. Here I write a meme. If all the world's a stage and all the people in it merely players, then I must ask you, me in brackets, what are you playing at? Indeed, what are you playing at, babies? The game of life. My cousin Megan Phillips wrote, staying alive, cousin, indeed. She's a true Phillips like me, brave, audacious, intrepid, with integrity, guts, corazon. We're a rare breed with this, my cousin and I. We're both shamans, actually. I had to tell her she was a shaman. She hadn't realised. She had a similar life path to mine, so that makes her a shaman too. There is an old saying that the only way out is through. I'm going to attempt writing my book again. It will serve as a living memory for other survivors of child abuse to see they are not alone in their experiences. I haven't done that because it's all up on Vocal Media and I've been reading it to you on YouTube for the past 12 months. So it's enough of wallowing in that level of pain, and it's done and it's completed, and I feel a great satisfaction that all my hard work is hopefully going to support someone who stumbles across my videos to see that you can and will survive pretty much everything. It starts with heart and mind and guts and courage and integrity and holding your line and keeping your head up, and when you spiral under, surrounding yourself with good, kind people who lift you up and hold you up and keep you precious. And if you have one good friend that can do that for you, you are wealthy beyond measure. After that is done, or perhaps concurrently as my timing is often out, I might write and illustrate children's books. I want to leave behind something bright and beautiful and inspiring. I have yet to decide what stories to tell the next generation. But first I must wade through all the ugliness, sighs. And my friend, who is also a shaman, actually a practicing shaman, He gives workshops and healing workshops in America. Michelle Citrine wrote, "Go for it, Tanya." And I replied, "Well, I've been suffering like a tortured animal just flicking through the will dispute papers. So my book needs writing, but it will be excruciating." Yes, it has been excruciating to go over the old stories over and over and over again. So now I'm ready for that pulling back of that mechanized car for the release. October 4th, when I complete this 12-month cycle of hashing over the old stories, and I will then begin creating new stories or continuing on with reading my folklore to you, however it manifests. But I'm looking forward to new, fresh stories, perhaps with a beautiful, loving man by my side as a partner one day too. I will ask my spirits to give me the strength and discipline to write it. I lost courage and confidence 2 years ago after I showed some of my stuff to a publisher who said it was an important story, but my writing was shit. It was just beyond evil. There's nothing wrong with my writing. I'm a good writer. That's why Michelle said, go for it. He knows I'm a good writer. But anyway, at the end of the day, I haven't manifested it, so you're only as good as what you put out, am I right? I've put it out into the world via YouTube and vocal media, so if you ever want to sit and just read quietly without hearing my voice, you can read at your own leisure. All my scribblings. So I will turn my writing shit to spiritual gold. If it is unpublishable, I will keep it for myself. All good, which as you can see, I did not keep it for myself, but continuously cross-promoted it by doing my YouTube videos as well. I just need to write it all out and exorcise decades of agony, and maybe Hashem will set me free. Maybe. 29th of September 2019. So hang on, so that was written in I think it was 2019. Yep, 5 years later, babies. I found a way to get my work out there, and some of you have watched it. Some of you need therapy now. I don't know, I hope not, because I've worked out my own stuff and it's been painful, but some of you might have gained wisdom from it too, and we've been on this journey kind of together, and it's been hard going for me. Trust me on that one, especially the last few months. A few things got revisited that been hard to work through. 29th of September 2018, barely survived. I thrive only on the dance floor, surrounded by wild revelers, fellow travellers thrashing out their pain and joy. Beautiful, grateful for my tribe. If only I could have found a way to make money. Yes, if only, babies. Owning my own nightclub was a good idea, but it costs a lot of money to set up. Well, there is the lotto god, but that one is rarely worshipped. Not really a person who likes throwing money into the sewer. Food, shelter and bills take everything I have. I am grateful for the abundant, benevolent universe that has blessed me with just enough over the past 23 years. Last night, a homeless man asked for $5 to go to Hungry Jack's, and the people I sat with wanted him to eat their leftover bitten on pizza. I was disgusted. So I said, "Would you eat the scraps from someone's table like an animal?" I had no cash in my purse, or I would have gifted him. But I shamed the people, so one lady bought him a slice of pizza, even though he really wanted Hungry Jack's. I must remember to keep a spare $5 to $10 so that humiliation never happens again on my watch. The woman who bought the pizza slice for him had commented earlier that my friend had bought her drinks and she was quite drunk, too drunk to drive, so she and her woman friend were staying in a hotel. She could easily afford to pay the generosity forward. Note to self: a person shows their caliber when confronted with authentic poverty and marginalisation. The homeless guy got a slice of pizza, but only because I advocated for him, and it leaves a bad taste in my mouth that he did not get his desired Hungry Jack's, which for $5 buys a burger, small fries, and a small drink, I believe. Oh, and laughing out loud, some young, drunk Irishman came to sit just behind me out of my line of vision after we'd both ordered our kebab. He says to my left shoulder, "Did I take you home a while ago, so?" Without batting, so is his Irish dialect. I should have done that in Irish, shouldn't I? Oh, wait, I'm not in the mood. But anyway, without batting an eye or turning to look at him, I said, "To be sure you did not, lad." "Oh, thank God," quoth he, and he scarpered off into the early morning. Cheeky little bastard. I had to chuckle at his Hayoka-style, back-assed, bald-faced psychology. I did recognise him from Irish Murphy's days, but I did not have sex with that young man, laughing my ass off. The nerve of it. By the gods. And I had shared a meme. Respect for those who did not survive or who do not thrive after sexual assault. It is kind of a soul death. It's not just that you were body violated, but it takes you months, sometimes years, to recover mentally and emotionally as well. It's a soul murder. It's beyond evil. Men don't realise how much damage they do when they foist themselves on people against their will. It's just beyond vile. Really is beyond vile. See file photo. My former rabbi's wife, which in Judaism is called a Rebbetzin, Geraldine, used to breed these dogs. They are a Hungarian breed, talking about the dog I showed you at the beginning of this video. She is the reason I got my dreads in 2003, as she was such a bitch to me about my hair. I could not afford a decent hairdresser. So she mocked and derided me, so right, fuck you. Went right out and said, "Jared, make me dreadlocks." And he, very much against his own will, because I had to kind of nag at him about it, did that for me, and thank you, Jared. It was the best rebellion ever. Here I was, about 35 years old at the time. No, I'm wrong. I was 38 years old, getting my first rebellion, getting dreadlocks at 38 years old. I know, I'm a late bloomer. Wait till I rediscover my sex life. It's going to be astonishing, people of Earth. That's a long time held back blooming. Anyway, I'm saving it for the one. I want it to be magnificent and beautiful and soul nourishing and lasts for the long term, not just a hiss and a fits and a pinch and a punch and a sizzle for the frizzle. I want it to be constantly emanating, blossoming, deep love and passion and romance that endures with a good, kind, loyal man. Yes, that's the dream, babies. Been holding on to that dream for 10 years now, but it is what it is. So Mama T fulfilled a long-awaited dream and got revenge on several fronts as well. Winky face. Here she is, 38 years of age. I think I look rather lovely in spite of some people don't like dreadlocks, but I don't care. I felt beautiful, I felt powerful, and I got my revenge on a few shallow, callow, superficial, false friends as well. So there is that. I'm very creative in how I get my revenge sometimes, but no regrets. It was the best and worst 6 months of my life. There's a whole story about that. It's called The Purple Pew Prank, and it's up there in Vocal Media in my Tanya Aaron's account too, so very amusing. Crystal has taken my car to drive to a gig. There is a storm brewing and it's the night of river fire. Awesome. I never go to it because it's always too crowded and I hate crowds. But river fire is like, happens in September. They always have a flyover of, Australian Air Force jets, which I find triggering and distressing when you hear the supersonic, and all I can think of is bombs falling, and I don't find that fun at all. And then they have the most spectacular fireworks, so most people go and line up for miles and miles around to view the fireworks, which are lovely to see. But I always give it a huge miss because I don't like the jets and the crowds and the build-up of tension, and it's just not my bag. I'm still recovering from last night's revelry, which was also quite awesome. Maybe I will do it again. Maybe. So that's referring to my Friday night wild shamanic dancing to wild rock music delivered by my handsome, talented friends in the bands, and beautiful Ramjet and Alter Egos. But in those days I was dancing at the casino, so there were different bands that were there each Friday night, and all of them were quite wonderful. They got to know me after many years, which were my favourite songs. So they'd play them for me too, and we'd just smile, and off I'd go like a little wind-up doll. Living my best life, am I right? That's what we should all be doing, living our best lives. 29th of September 2017. Gemar Chatima Tova, which is a prayer that you say, says, be well over the fast on the day of Yom Kippur, which is Day of Atonement, which is a day that we don't drink or eat at all. We abstain from sex, although in my case that's not hard since I'm always in some kind of abstemious holding pattern, but we abstain from, pleasures of the flesh, including food and water, and it's a long, long day of prayer, and you actually get kind of high by the end of it from abstaining from water, and especially in our Queensland heat, it causes a kind of a strange euphoria, or in my case I noticed that I would get euphoric. It's probably a post-traumatic nervous system response though, because I often get euphoric when I've gone through some kind of ordeal, which is weird. Thank you, God, for bringing us home safe, for Byron Bay, for life, which means I spent that holy day in Byron Bay, which really is the best form of worship, being amongst nature and by the sea. For me, that's my idea of prayer. Home safe at 5:30 p.m. The highway was a slow car park most of the way home. We came home early. This is my friend Karen and I. Karen can't drive, so it was a bit of a crisis, people. As I lost my glasses in the surf and was terrified to drive home in the dark with blurry vision. So it was very scary, but I had no choice. Byron was beautiful as always. Wish I could live there. No pics this time as we left our bags in the car. Fortunately, I had a cheap pair of prescription glasses as a spare on my bedside table, so I can function fully again. But driving home without having proper 20/20 vision, I guess the gods were looking after me that it was a car park on the highway, because it meant that we had to go very slowly and I had to just sort of peer everyone's number plate so I could judge the distance between me and the next car. That's how terrifying it was. I hope I never ever have to do that again, but there was no other way that we could both get home, get the car home, get Karen home, and oh my goodness, I can do anything, but I wouldn't do it again. I sweated out my own liver that whole trip home, and it's a 2-hour drive home, by the way. 2 hours there, which was fine because I had my glasses. 2 hours back, so I now keep a spare pair of glasses in my car in the event that that should ever happen again, God forbid. I'll at least have the previous prescription to use. Anyway, I can't bloody sleep. Been lying here for 3.5 hours. I have 4 hours of driving tomorrow. This was the night before. It is just so annoying as I'm so looking forward to the day trip to Byron. And that often happens. I get so excited about going somewhere or going to see someone or going to a place that I'll get this intense anxiety, and then I'm exhausted the next day. It's like, it's kind of self-sabotage in a way. I still do that to this day. I don't know why I'm like that. 29th of September 2016, 2:52 a.m, finally in bed. Hopefully I sleep well tonight. Really itchy, sunburn driving me mad. Ugh, but really exhausted, so here goes. 11:24 a.m, awake, looks like storms are incoming. Noise. My friend Kellyanne wrote, she has complex PTSD like mine. Both suffer varying degrees with it, sometimes quite badly. So she wrote, I should have copied and pasted when I started feeling like I might be able to sleep. Wasn't last night or the wee hours after midnight or just before dawn. I finally fell asleep after 7:30 a.m. Sunlight coming in directly at my face through my front window made me feel sleepy, finally. Pathetic much? I'm a seriously lost cause, huh? Lol, what a noddy. No, she's not. She's just her nervous system finally collapsed. It happens when you don't sleep an entire night, sometimes several nights. So I replied, I have had entire nights of wakefulness ending in 3 days of sleep. All good, don't fight it, dream it, be it. We have our own rhythms, we complex PTSD survivors. It all settles down again. I don't sleep well when I'm brewing or suffering from illness. My chest is playing up for the millionth time this year. Even my psych could hear it yesterday. My wheezy breathlessness. Kellyanne wrote, and a 22, meaning we should shoot ourselves, but we won't, because life is beautiful and we're fought to sustain ourselves this long. Might as well keep on going, babies. So I wrote back, now, think of the children, dear. She was still raising kids. I forced myself, rather grudgingly, to stay alive to raise my kids. For what? Bupkis. But at least they weren't left to live out the rest of their childhood with pedophiles and predators. So I did my job. Now still fucking alive. For what? For the sake of entertaining heaven, as it makes no sense at all. Sometimes, even to this day, still doesn't make a whole lot of sense why I was cast back to earth so many times, and only to live alone here, reading my diaries out and folklore out on YouTube, all alone in my old age. Oh, smallest violin, delete, but it makes no sense at all, because I'm a lovely person, deserve to have a loving partner and a loving, fulfilled life, and be safe and have more than just barely enough, and enjoy this beautiful sunshine we're having today, which I will do when I finish these videos. Just live your best life. But it makes no sense. If you look at the broad picture of my life, it makes no sense at all what I was put through, what I have endured. It's odd and nonsensical, but I guess in a weird way it built me to be me, and it makes sense to the gods. Kellyanne wrote, I didn't mean for me, I was on about Pine, lol, but the kids were precisely who I was considering it on behalf of too, lol. I should have clarified, hard to tell without voice inflection, etc. on Facebook. I don't know who Pine is. I was being a bit of a bitch to poor old Pine though. I ought to pull my head in. Not. I'm such a bad girl. Think kind thoughts. Be a nice person, Cal, even if you're talking to yourself and therefore as batshit crazy as a late 19th century hatter, lol. I wrote back, hugs. We live to fight another day while everyone else barely exists, therefore even know who they are. Great backhanded gifts of poverty and trauma, fully embracing the remains of our days with a quirky quiescence and blood in our eye. Nor. Some people really are oxygen thieves and time vampires, i.e. deserve to die. But I work very hard to not grow up to be a homicidal serial killer. If I had killed all my abusers, there would be an entire row in a cemetery dedicated to them. Too many. 12 of them actually. 12 active abusers. 1998 to 2001. So I haven't got the energy when piss weak people come up to me and whine about their broken fingernails. I'm like, are you serious? Are you actually serious? And they are, with their trivial little problems. Compared to what I endured, it's astonishing. Sometimes I have to remind myself to be, I have to physically be more compassionate, Tanya. That's the worst thing that's happened to them, and to them that's enormous. And you're like, oh, for the love of all the gods. It's just a complete non-event. But anyway, on we go. Something rather magical happens when your homicidal family and exes fail to kill you, and then you fail to kill yourself. You are forced to confront your raison d'etre, which means you have to embrace that which will not die inside of you, laughing my ass off, Useless fuckers. And here I am, still going strong. I posted an article. New study into hormonal contraception finds link to depression, especially in young women, which explains a lot actually. And I replied, I started on the pill at 17, been depressed most of my life, also complex PTSD. I suspect the depression was more related to the decades of abuse than any contraceptive, although I finally got happier after my uterus was removed 9 years ago. Isn't that interesting? Having a defunct uterus makes you very unwell in general as well as mentally. Yes, it does. Tonight's efforts, painting old boxes that had faded and decoupaging Crystal's case, keeps my mind occupied while I watch Breaking Bad and fiddle about with my hands, helps alleviate the anxiety and some of my boredom. And there's a case I actually made for my daughter Crystal, which is in her possession now, for her clown, one of her clowns. I wonder if she still uses it though. Came up very nice by the time I completed it and put resin, and it was all made from lovely illustrations from old fairy tale books. So yes, there is that. I sort of kept it in like a childlike theme because it was for her clown, which is very childlike. Here's some other little boxes that I'd painted and was decorating because, yeah, decided to waste not, want not, and turn shit to spiritual gold, am I right? And the heart-shaped one was rather pretty, and the other one I now use to store candles in. So, yeah, make use of things lying around the house. Make them colourful and pretty and artistic and joyful. Shana Tova, May 5777. What year was that? That was back in 2017, I think. Where were we? I can't even remember the titles I read out to you people, honestly. 2016. Gosh, time's marching on. It's beyond, beyond, beyond. Here I am getting older. May 5777 bring us and all the world, because I pray not just for the Jewish people, but all humanity. All sentient beings, actually. The Buddhists pray for all sentient beings. And you know what? I like that. All life forms on earth. And all the world. True loves, good health, happiness, and enough prosperity that we can enjoy life without compromising our integrity or that of the even, less fortunate than ourselves. Erev Rosh Hashanah on Sunday night, sundown. Please pray for me. God in his or her infinite wisdom and sick, twisted sense of humour is still lovingly guiding me to my own demise and or destiny in weird and wonderful ways. I am shuleless, that means I don't have a temple to pray in, broke, alone, but happy in my madness. Life is mystery, and the Tanya is perfect in her imperfections, also greatly loved by cats and a dog and chickens. Goldfish are ambivalent. My childhood friend Lynn Robertson wrote, "Work on the goldfish, Tanya. They may need a bit of coaching, but they will warm up to you. They are just generally not an outgoing species. Personally, I would never go out for a drink with one. She's right, you know. One died today. Very sad. Actually, my fish do love me at feeding time. Very conditional. I suspect in their own way they love me even more, but we don't always interface regularly. I tell you what's astonishing is I get these wild lizards that come through the garden. And I had it on my video the other day, the water dragon. They love me. You can feel the love emanating out from them. They just quietly observe me as I was reading to you on YouTube, and they see me with Charlie, and the wild birds come and they love me too. I feel really loved by all the wild creatures that live here. Even the snake that I'm kind of nervous about because I'm scared he'll take Charlie, or she, kind of has a way of smiling at me as he goes about his business. Wow. It means I've got the energies, perfect harmonic resonance here at Sacred Space, that even the wild ones feel safe and loved here, and protected and held in high regard. And it's beautiful. It's a bit mad to the uninitiated, but for me it's a beautiful feeling to just feel home and surrounded by love and light and acceptance, even by the wild silent ones. The birds aren't silent, they do have their calls, but you know what I mean. The ones who can't speak up for themselves that come to my garden, they kind of acknowledge me now as if I'm their pet, and it's a bit delightful in a way. 29th of September 2015. I had a lovely day today. The hefty, depressing, oppressive zombie mood finally lifted. I felt almost normal. I visited Julie tonight. We had fun chatting, taking photos of the moon and of Shiloh, which was her beautiful cat. She gave me some beautiful brooches, a German cowbell chime, which I've still got out there to this day, but it's rusty now, and sold me a Dremel. Woot. I've been wanting one for weeks. So great that she was selling hers. 29th of September 2013. I had a nice quiet day and all night. Didn't go out tonight, so avoided the river fire crowds. Broke and a bit frustrated and sad. Had epic cuddles from Harvey, the passionate fox terrorist. I actually used to call him the terriorist because he's a terrier. But he was a lovely dog. Jared's dog. I miss him terribly. 29th of September 2012. Busy. Fertilised garden, got pond going with a new fixture, a duck that spits water that has laid around for several years. Looks great. Attached the Nagakanyes, the guardians of the temple and the underworld, to my bedposts. Looks awesome. Last night I danced all night at Irish Murphy's and the casino. I only came home at 4 a.m. Exhausted but happy with sore feet, laughing out loud. 12 years ago. There's the proof. Someone said, have you really been out dancing for 14 years? Here's the proof that I've been dancing for at least 12 years, babies. But I'm pretty sure it's 14 years because I was dancing at Greenbank RSL for a few years before I started dancing at the casino and Irish Murphy's. 29th of September 2012, Naga Kanye's guardians of the underworld and protectors of gods and humans. Unfortunately, I've got the photo sideways, but I recently protector cleared the larger one that's on my door, and I'll have to protector clear the other two smaller ones that are screwed to the end posts of my 4-poster bed. Then I'll never have to polish them again. Yay! Because I'm sick of polishing, people of Earth. I'm sick of all the extra work I do around this house, and no one comes and gets to sort of see it and enjoy it, except for my cleaning lady on Thursday. Oh, smallest violin. Delete, 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 delete. It's all good, people of Earth. I will survive. But anyway, I do miss my friends, I do miss them. 29th of September 2011. Battling extreme fatigue, but looking forward to lunching with Lynn and Annette Drummond tomorrow. I hope I wake up in time. Laughing out loud. And thus concludes today's readings of Even Date. It's been real, it's been lovely, it's been delightful, it's been spiritual, it's been intense, but that's what happens when you hang out with the Tanya. It's a mixed bag. You never know what you're gonna get. So on that note, have a beautiful day, night, afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are in the space-time continuum on planet Earth, and to all interdimensional entities. Big agape love to wherever you are in the cosmos. And may there be peace in all worlds, paradigms, multiverses, for all sentient beings and all higher dimensional and lower dimensional entities, I guess, too. Let there be peace in all the worlds, and shalom. I'm waxing spiritual because Rosh Hashanah is coming. I'm going to turn a whole new year spinning on my non-existent dime as I do. Being Bam Boom Babies, these heavy going videos of my journal entries will be completed, and I'll be making new stories, hopefully with other equally enthusiastic and artistic and wondrous people, creating our beautiful lives together with big, big love that's real, authentic, and delightful. So, God and Goddess bless all of us together. Amen. V'salah. Bye for now.